Good evening. This is America's Mayor Live, and this is Rudy Giuliani. And I was just smiling, and I said, "What am I smiling about? The world is coming to an end." But mean, it really isn't coming to an end. But I mean, this election is so darn important. Uh, just when you thought you knew just how evil the Biden administration was, just as my book is coming out about the Biden crime family, which I mean, you can't be much more evil than that. You find out now we knew this. And I guess we should have known this would happen, that there is a spy operation within the administration for the reign of terror. The reign of terror is, of course, the Ayatollah. This spy operation is being investigated, which, of course, is a laugh to say it, by the FBI. By the FBI. I mean, it could be that the FBI might be able to figure it out. They already have all the emails that would convict all of them. And they've had those for a year and a half. But of course, they've had the ones that would convict the Bidens for 8 years. And then they investigated Trump for something they knew was false for 4 years. Now, we're about a hope, God willing, to change administrations. But this guy and this woman, the so-called president and vice president, could get a lot of Americans killed before that happens. There's no question that this leak, first of all, comes out of our government. There's no question about that. And it was published in a pro-Iranian publication called the Middle East Spectator. They just published the places. It's not a complete document, a complete attack plan, but it gives the kind of planes and the kind of missiles and the kind of drones that Israel is going to use. This is the kind of information that, if you break somebody's code, like during the Second World War, you would get, or that the communist spies who were executed used to give to Russia during their tremendous infiltration of the Roosevelt administration. Looks like the Iranian spies, because Biden has always wanted to be like Roosevelt. Well, we hoped it was the good part of Roosevelt, not the part where the communist spies infiltrated his administration so that they gave away Eastern Europe to the communists and treated Joe Stalin like he really was a human being. Where Churchill told him, you should be smart enough to know we used him. He ended up using us, because Roosevelt, declining like Biden, was surrounded by communists. It looks like these two doofuses are surrounded by Iranian spies. I mean, neither one of them has got an IQ that breaks 3 digits. And that was before Biden was demented and she was selling her soul running for president. So this layout, which I just went through in my prior show, hopefully you've listened to it. But if you go you get it right online until they take it off, right? There are 2 very, very good articles that explain this, both a year ago and very recently. So you can go back to a year ago and you can get the article by Lee Smith, and it's about Robert Malley. All you got to do is put in Lee Smith and Robert Malley, and you'll get the article in search. And it talks about the spy ring, the Iranian spy ring in Washington. That's a year ago. What's been done about it in the year? Nothing. What's been done about the investigation of the assassination of Donald J. Trump? Nothing. Who's investigating? The FBI. I'm the FBI, the Federal Biden Investigatory Bureau. Sorry, agents, but we got to do this for the good of America. Well, you got a leadership that certainly does a real imitation of being traitors. They do an imitation of it. Now, whether they are or they aren't, they sure as hell are. They're either the most incompetent human beings that ever walked the face of the earth, or they are traitors to the United States of America. Because to allow this spy ring to operate, when you have this kind of information, makes you something other than an American. If you read these articles, the emails are right there showing that these people were spies for Iran, and then they were hired and given top security clearance within the incompetent, traitorous Biden Harris administration. And one of them was let go over a year and a half ago. No conclusion about him, Robert Malley. His security clearance was supposed to have been taken away, but he's been able to use it. And he's left behind the people he hired, who, if you go back to 2014, there are emails proving this spies. How did they get hired? Look, if we had a clearance, Biden wouldn't have gotten it, right? His son was too close to Red China. So was he. Harris, I don't know if Harris would get it, given her position she's taken, her father being a communist. I don't know. So I guess they find it easy to hire people that have backgrounds that at least give the imitation of being traitors. What about the vice president she selected? 30 times in China? Trained by China as a young man? Sent over there by Harvard? Taking our impressionable young people over to China? Year after year after year after year, paid for by Red China, and the press doesn't even bring out. You don't even hear that in the crooked American press, do you? Not only should you hear it, you should hear demands that he have a press conference and explain it. Explain what was that program that hired you to go over to China? How were you allowed to go back to China 30 times to teach, and you weren't teaching what they wanted you to teach? Are you the only guy that gets to teach what he wants to teach in China? And they paid for you? They paid for you to come over there and screw him? Doesn't work, Tampon Tim, that way. There are people that are smarter than the idiots that you fool, meaning mostly the American people. If they haven't figured out by now that you are either the biggest idiot that ever lived or an operative for the Chinese government, well, in either case, keep this guy. They should get him out of the governorship. He just about destroyed the city of Minneapolis, destroyed the police department. I don't know what the hell he's doing to the kids that he teaches. He teaches them communism, right? When he was early in his career, he was drunk. He was a drunken bum in his car, lying about it. This is what she picks. She picks a guy that her father would have picked. Perfect communist pedigree. Also, Douglas Murray makes the excellent point in the Post today, and others have made it too, but Douglas does it really well, having been there. If she were president, Sinwar would still be alive. Well, if Biden were president, Soleimani would still be alive. So, we're like surprised. Did you ever wonder what side they're working for? I had some very high person who I can't reveal because I think I promised I wouldn't. Someday I will answer the question by saying, what do you mean? We don't know what side they're working for. I know which side they're working for. It's called the other side. They're working for Iran and they're working for China. Who knows? Maybe they're cutting up the money. I don't know. Biden, drug addicted son, took money from. How come Iran never hired him? He doesn't do anything. You just give him money. Then you get Joe to work for you, like China did, like Russia did, like Ukraine did, like Iraq did, like Romania did. What am I leaving out? Like Kazakhstan did. And like a bunch of little creepy scum did when he was a senator. Joe came cheap and then he came expensive. Remember, Kamala Harris said 3 months ago that Israeli Defense Forces should never enter Rafah. That was bad. That was awful. They should stay out of the Philadelphia corridor. Had they done it, good old Sinwar would be still pulling down the millions. His wife was seen running off with 40 grand. Wow. I'm laughing only because it is disgusting that we have an administration like this that allows this. None of this has to happen with an administration. It doesn't even have to be Trump. I hope, God willing, it will be Trump. All it needs to be is one that's loyal to America. This administration is not loyal to the United States of America. You don't keep these damn spies if you're loyal to America. You don't keep this Ariane Tabatabai, who was easily determined to be a spy in 2014 for Iran. You don't bring her in and make her the chief of staff to the assistant secretary of whatever it is. And I don't see how the hell she gets past a security clearance unless the thing is fixed. Then you get a letter from Blinken and the other guy that Carter that Biden can never remember, telling them not to do anything in retaliation, and then if they do, not to hit the nuclear facilities or the oil supplies of Iran, and don't hit Iran at all. And then when Israel does show you their plan, you leak it out. Millions stashed away in a bunker. Sound like a typical a dictator? Flushed with UN rations, cash, cologne, both where he was killed and in Khan Yunis. And then he had plenty of food that was sent by the UN and other things. Well, because the UN RWA is a mere subsidiary of Hamas. Most of the people that work for them are directly members of Hamas or Palestinians who are very partial to Hamas. And then they supposedly are supposed to be a relief agency for themselves. So the relief goes to Hamas. The other Palestinians die. Did you see the picture of his wife? This could be the reason that he was on the road so often. Show him the picture of his wife. By the way, she's carrying 32 grand. I don't know how we knew there was, I don't know if we got, her name is Abu Zamar. She's 61 and she's wearing a Hermes, she's carrying a Hermes bag, super deluxe Hermes bag in the middle of a firefight. And it's got 32 grand in it. Now, we must have, in order to know that it has 32 grand in it, you must have gotten it, right? You can't look at it and know there's 32 grand in it. That's at 32,000. Oh, is it worth 32 grand? Is that the idea? Oh, a $32,000 bag. I thought there was 32 grand in it. The bag is worth 32,000. What do you think she's going to sell it?
That's the idea, which blows my mind, to be honest.
She's going to sell it?
I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine prospective buyers in that area.
She can go to the south of France, and the richest woman there could take care of her, Mrs. Arafat. Although they were on somewhat separate sides. Fatah is the group that opposes them. That's supposed to be the peaceful group. They only killed 27 Americans.
Absurd.
So there is a in the book that is usually half fiction and half accidentally the truth, a Woodward book. There's quite an argument that makes it clear that Biden is completely responsible for the regime of terror now becoming nuclear. The permissive environment established by Biden and his team was taken as a green light by the Kremlin to go into Afghanistan. The next beneficiary of Biden's weakness will likely be Iran's nuclear weapons program. While Biden has repeatedly pledged that Khamenei will not obtain nuclear weapons on his watch, he has. This is like when he told Putin, don't. When he tells Bibi, don't. Yeah, Bibi wasn't supposed to go into Rafah. And so Biden and Harris would have kept their friend Sinwar alive. And Biden was really upset that we killed American killer Soleimani. Now, how do you figure that? Anybody that really has doubts about killing Soleimani shouldn't get near the presidency because he can't protect us. He's not able to protect us. Wow. So Israel must be saying to themselves, we got more problems with our friends than we do with our enemies. Our enemies, we just go kill them, and we're doing a pretty good job of that. We eliminated the entire upper structure of Hamas, probably about half of the upper structure of Hezbollah, some pretty critical Iranian operatives. And meanwhile, we got Biden and Harris telling us, stop, stop killing all those people that want to destroy America. You remember, don't you, that both in Palestine and Iran, when they finish death to Israel, they say death to America. Please remember that. And therefore, when this is all over, and God willing, Trump wins, there's got to be a medal for Bibi Netanyahu. He's doing our work. He's protecting Israel. He's protecting the United States. And maybe, just maybe, the pressure that he creates and keeps up will leave a good situation for Trump to finish off the regime of terror. The only way you're going to forget a two-state solution, or at least forget it for now. Just think of the fact that if you had a two-state solution, the state would be an ally of the Ayatollah. Right? The way Iraq has largely become, except for the Kurd part of it. The way Syria kind of is also. Right?
Right.
But except stronger, because they're a weaker little entity that has relied completely on Iran for everything they're doing. So Harris's campaign against the Catholic Church is now in full throttle. She's spending more time on that than she is explaining what she's going to do about the Ukraine war or the Israeli war. She has explained what she's going to do about our economy. She's going to do what Biden did, except increase it. She's going to spend another trillion, 3 trillion 7. And it'll be more than she says, because no Democrat has ever spent less than they promise. They've always spent twice to 3 times. Obamacare has cost 5 times what he originally estimated. When Trump says he had to save it, it's because once you set up a program like that, it's very hard to change it. It was doomed when McCain, out of pique and anger, voted for something he totally disagreed with all his life, Obamacare. When John McCain did that, it was over. The American people are going to get used to it, and it'd be really, really hard. And these Republicans like Cheney and telling Republicans to, I'll consult my conscience, traitor, and I'll vote for Trump. I'm not going to vote for you. You're on the January 6th committee. What, you didn't think you should investigate Ashley Babbitt's murder? Dumbbell Cheney? Boy, oh boy. I used to have great respect for your old man. Don't have any for him now. Man doesn't care about Americans.
Of course.
To support Kamala Harris with the knowledge that he has shows that he's a bitter old man. And maybe he was a little Darth Vader. I don't know. But the Democrats used to say. And you're the daughter of Darth Vader. You sure sound like it sometimes. And boy, did you sell out on the January 6th committee. You even destroyed the records. You even destroyed the records. You destroyed my interview because I sank you. I was falsely charged, and the judge dismissed the case that your committee brought against me. Traitor.
Well, do you think that's a winning strategy for Kamala Harris to a Liz Cheney of all ex-Republicans or former Republicans? What's
they got spies in the administration? They might as well have traitors in their campaign, right?
But who is now on the fence and thinking, oh wow, Liz Cheney just came out for Kamala Harris. There we go. Now I know who I want. I just can't imagine.
Oh, there are a lot of people. Unfortunately, they're mostly in institutions, so they don't hurt themselves.
Yeah. It just seems like an interesting strategy.
Yeah, the other thing is she's so attractive too. I mean, you just look at her and say, Liz, thank God. Thank God I'm not imagine. Oh my God. What a voice.
So Kamala Harris was with Liz Cheney today in Michigan.
Was she cackling?
On the west side. I'm sure she must have had some
Were they
moments where she's.
Was she throwing?
We'll say.
Did she make sure that everybody who believes in Jesus wasn't there? I understand they began it today by checking your religion. And if you believe in Jesus, you weren't allowed
You weren't
in
allowed
the
to enter.
infant. Well, I mean, I don't think anybody that believes in Jesus want to be there, but I mean, that's up to them.
Well,
They don't want anybody who. She obviously says that if you believe in Jesus, you belong with the other guy.
well,
This is quite an intellectual, powerful group there. The two of them.
Well, let's play this real quick. This is Kamala Harris.
What's her name?
Liz Cheney.
Oh, yeah, Liz Cheney. Did Liz Cheney pass the bar exam? Or did she ever take it?
Is she a lawyer?
I don't know. I don't know what she is. She's the son of a guy who can't shoot. Well, he is a nasty person.
She's a former Republican. I don't like how they keep calling her a Republican.
Yeah.
You're not a Republican anymore when you're campaigning with a Democrat nominee.
Benedict Arnold was a former American.
So here we have, let's take this is a quick excerpt from the campaign trail today, Kamala Harris and Liz Cheney. And remember, this was supposed to be the campaign of joy. Mayor, watching this clip,
first of all, I want you to look at those faces. Those are very happy faces.
I don't know, Mayor. I'm sad to report that the joy may be dead, but I want to get your opinion.
I don't see Liz Cheney as a particularly fun person.
In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man, but the consequences of him being president of the United States are brutally serious. There are things that he says that will be the subject of skits and laughter and jokes.
So she's basically admitting that President Trump is funny and has a sense of humor.
What did she say? I couldn't make out what she said.
Let's play it again.
No, just tell me. I don't understand her anymore. Maybe she had too much to drink. Oh, I'm sorry.
Basically, what she's saying is that this is very serious. What we're doing here with this election, these are very serious matters, and President Trump is a very unserious person. And the things that he do, some of them will end up in skits and.
Yeah, obviously has never been in an emergency or in battle, because you learn that the most important thing you can have to keep your balance is a sense of humor. She should meet some of my firefighters sometime. Maybe she should meet some of the military. I mean, you have to have a sense of humor. That's one of his strengths. Actually, it was one of Ronald Reagan's strengths. It was one of Bill Clinton's strengths. You got to have a sense of humor if you're a leader. People don't follow. The reason she's losing votes is, and she lost last time, and this was predicted by a Democrat to me. So the one chance that she had of winning is it was a short campaign. And if this were a 1-year campaign, she'd be at about 20% now. The more you get to know her, the more you dislike her, because she's a very unpleasant, disturbed person. She's very angry. What? You don't even see what she said. Just look at her. Look how angry she is. Look at the other one. The other one looks like she wants to kill everybody.
What the heck happened? This was supposed to be the campaign of joy. What happened to the joy? It's
right now, she's having everybody checked for their religion. No. Well, the crowd is being
faces.
The crowd is being examined for their religious beliefs, and those who believe in Jesus will be excluded to go where they belong. They belong. I guess she meant they belong with Trump. She didn't want any Jesus believers.
Well, the one right behind him, she can't even keep her eyes open. She's falling asleep.
Well, the ones behind them were checked already. They would check. Her father sent her over some communist friends of his, and they checked them out for atheism. They're pure atheists back there.
So that was Kamala Harris.
Good thing you know that they're not, by the choice of a vice president. You know they're not Jewish. She's not going to have any Jews around. She didn't want them for vice president. She didn't want them around. I mean, she might lose those 5 votes in Dearborn. It sounds like they don't want to vote for.
Well, they're voting for Trump.
Look, I don't think they're going to vote for Trump. I think they're going to vote. That's what they're all saying. This is really disgusting. Actually, they sell out America. They sell out Israel for sure to get 20,000 votes in Dearborn. And meanwhile, the Christians and the let's say Reform Muslims are going to all vote for Trump, and then all the more Orthodox Muslims who are in favor of him, they're not going to vote for it. They're not going to vote because, well, she's causing a problem herself. She and Biden always begin by saying, we strongly support Israel. Then they don't. And the people whose vote she's trying to get take that first part of the sentence seriously. They don't realize it's a signal like, we're just saying that to the Jewish people so that we can sucker them into vote for us one more time. And we don't really mean that, because if we did, we wouldn't give billions of dollars to a country that wants to destroy them. I mean, if you cared about Israel, why would you give billions of dollars to a country that's dedicated to destroying them? So the first part of that is not operative. But these are probably very, very zealous people, and they hear it and they say, screw it. Now let's look at Tim. Let's look at Tampon Tim trying to shoot a gun. We're going to have some humor one way or the other, and then we'll take a break. Well, shall we take a break first?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Let's take a break, and then we're going to look at, we have to have some fun, because Kamala Harris said we're not allowed to. I found that if you do everything opposite of the New York Times, you come out okay. This is good. We're going to take a look at Tampon Tim, who is as much a rifleman as Mitt Romney was. We'll be right back.
We're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50%, and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free. Year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50%, and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Cancel culture is the new normal. Online freedom, as we know it, has ended. Digital stockades are here. All activity is monitored, stored, and predictively analyzed by a technological cartel. We're being converted into a digital resource, a digital currency to be farmed for metadata and loaded into a computerized combine, blockchained to a social engineering operating system. However, it doesn't have to be this way. Be part of a new technological revolution. Right now, 1,000 test pilots have launched themselves into a new digital frontier, a private network outside of big tech control. New technology with state-of-the-art digital engagement and never-done-before security and privacy features that are now operational. With Quick's digital engagement, entertainment, communication, and commercial exchange will never be the same. We are QUX. Quicks. Advanced pre-release sales are limited to 3,000. Order now by visiting quicks.tv. Get yours now before they sell out. Be part of a brand new online experience.
And we're back.
Welcome back to America's Mayor Live. And QX, I use it. I can tell you, you should use it if you want to be safe and you want to save some money. And it's excellent, same quality. You don't lose any quality, maybe better. And you know they're not spying on you. And boy, oh boy, with what China is doing, I wouldn't be surprised at anything. And I can tell you an awful lot of time, an awful lot of research was put into making sure that this is secure. And the other thing you can do is you can buy things directly so they don't end up making a profile of you. Well, probably one of the most wonderful and great organizations in this country that you can feel very, very comfortable supporting because it helps to fulfill your own obligations as Tunnel to Towers. And thanks to the generosity of friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation welcomed U.S. Army Specialist Brett Menard into a new mortgage-free home, a smart home, right here in Florida. Brett had decided to enlist in the U.S. Army after September 11th, and his desire to be part of something that truly matters. While on a road clearance mission in Afghanistan, Brett's vehicle was blown up by an improvised explosive device. In an instant, his life changed. The blast left Brett a T4 paraplegic with traumatic brain injury, compartment syndrome in both arms, unable to use his legs, and severe internal injury. He even needed a total face reconstruction because his bones and teeth were shattered in the explosion. Despite his overwhelming challenges, Brett's spirit remained unbroken. Because of the support of friends like you, Tunnel to Towers built him a specially designed home, a smart home, that allows catastrophically injured heroes like Brett to live more independently. You know how important that is. America's heroes need your help now. Donate $11 a month at T2T.org. That's T2T.org. And do it now. T2T.org. This is an organization you want to be part of. It's going to do more for you, well, than it does for them. But of course, it does plenty for them also. Well, the Yankees are back in the World Series. This is an old hat. This is my son's hat. See, look, it doesn't fit.
This is the same hat you wore 2 years ago when we were doing it too. I remember you saying it was too small.
Yeah, it is too small. Well,
It was then too. We had a different one maybe in New York.
I used this to begin with, but then I changed it and I put on the bigger one. But I can make this bigger. But in any event, there it is. And how about this? When I was a child, I thought the only World Series was between the Yankees and the Dodgers. My first World Series, I'm sorry to tell you, it was the Yankees and the Phillies. And it was the second in their run of 5 in a row. And I heard it on the radio. My mom and dad would listen to it, and they would let me listen to it. And that's when I first got into it. My first ball game was in 51. It was the Yankees and the Red Sox. And then that year, the Yankees played, in 51, they played the Giants and beat the Giants in 6. And then in 49, 50, 51, 52. And then in 53, they beat the Dodgers. 54, they missed it. The Cleveland Indians won. And 55, the Dodgers won the only World Series. The Brooklyn Dodgers won the only World Series they ever won against the Yankees. That's the famous one in which Jackie Robinson stole home or didn't, depending on whether you believe Jackie Robinson or Yogi Berra, but you got to believe the umpire, right? And then in 56, the Yankees made sure that the last World Series between the New York Yankees and the Brooklyn Dodgers was won by the New York Yankees. And that was the game. That was the World Series. That was the World Series with Don Larson's perfect game. There's a lot of history, boys and girls. In the Reggie Jackson, Thurman Munson era, the Yankees beat the Dodgers in 77 and 78. Then there's another world. The Dodgers beat them in another World Series. And it's
They've played 11 times.
And it's 8-3, right?
Getting that. I'll get that.
It's 8-3. It's not even close. We beat them.
But you were born in Brooklyn, but somehow managed to be.
My father was a Yankee fan. He dressed me up as a Yankee when I was a little boy. He took home from the hospital dressed up as a Yankee, and I would have to stand up for my beliefs. I believe that being a Yankee fan in Brooklyn is what made me a person of principle. That I'll fight for my principles. I'm a Yankee fan, and you're not going to change me. They tried to hang me once from a tree, and my grandmother saved my life. She told them to let him off the. Lived exactly 1 mile from Ebbets Field.
You did?
But I was a Yankee fan. Yeah, I can take you and show you Bedford Avenue, where the kids would stand out there with a glove and try to catch home runs that would hit over the wall, because Ebbets Field was about as close to Fenway Park as you could get. And I'm going to tell you, it wasn't as nice as Fenway Park. Don't get angry, Brooklyn fans. But again, I'm comparing the Ebbets. But see, you can see
This is 1952. Yankees at Dodgers.
Okay, now that's Ebbets Field. Now you can see Ebbets Field. There it is. Very small. Yankee Stadium was very big. One of the reasons the Yankees so consistently beat the Dodgers, I'm going to tell you the reason. The Dodgers had mostly power hitters who were right-handed, Duke Snider being the only exception. And Yankee Stadium is a place for left-handed hitters. So the Brooklyn Dodgers would get up, and Gil Hodges and Pafko and Ferrillo, and they'd get up and they'd hit these long drives to left center. And Joe DiMaggio or Mickey Mantle would just run over and catch him. And in Ebbets Field, it would be on Bedford Avenue. Seriously. Be out of the ballpark. They would stand at the plate, say to themselves, what the hell happened? I just hit a home run, and it got caught. When the Yankees and Dodgers played again in 77, wouldn't you know, it was once again a right-handed hitting team. And in the first game, one of them hit a long drive. Might have been the guy who's running for Senate now. He had a long drive to left center.
Garvey?
Yeah. And whoever goes back there and catches it, you can see him bang the bat down. And I said to myself, we're gonna beat them again because they don't have the left-handed power they're gonna need. I think they had Reggie Smith. I think was their left-handed power hitter, and that was it. Of course, that was the series. The 77 World Series was the one with the 3 Reggie home runs in the final game.
So when you were a kid, they played a lot.
Oh my God, yeah. And they usually played 7 games. The Yankees beat them in 6 games in the 70s, twice. The second one, I think the Dodgers went ahead 2-0 in the series, and then the Yankees won 4 in a row. That was well known for Reggie getting hit by a ball that broke up a double play, and they didn't call Reggie for interference. And that was a big disputed play. Also,
1981.
1981, yeah. The Dodgers beat them in the strike-shortened season. And again, that was the last time we played, so there's something to get even for here.
So that's the last time they played was 1981. You probably remember that one.
Now, baseball really loves this a World Series.
The 81?
No, this one coming up.
Coming up, yeah.
This is, I mean, I think the Yankees and Mets would have been a good one for me and for New Yorkers. And I feel bad that the Mets are not in the World Series. But again, probably for audience, that'd be a big audience because it'd concentrate on New York, and New Yorkers are all over the country.
Yeah.
But still, I think the Yankees and
LA.
and New York and LA is bigger. And also, you have the two best players in baseball, right? The best offensive players in baseball, Judge and Ohtani. And Ohtani is just hitting right now, not
Well, this is his first World
not
Series.
pitching. Well, you don't want to show that.
No.
That was a terrible World Series. I hated it.
What, 81?
Oh my God! No. The World Series with the Pirates. In '59.
I don't even.
Goodness.
Well, right now on screen, I'm just playing some B-roll. That's Yankee Stadium. Were you there in 1981 at the World Series?
Yeah, I was at that one.
You went to the games then?
Oh yeah.
So early 80s. You,
Oh no,
were you
I
in
couldn't.
DC?
I couldn't go to
You
those.
just got elected.
Sorry, I was watching those on television, my friend. I
From
made it to
DC.
made it up to one game.
So you probably remember watching this.
I made it up to one game.
So maybe, but otherwise you're watching this very footage.
Yep. The same. Yeah, I watched one
1981.
game.
So what's your prediction? Any early prediction? How many games is this going to go?
Well, the
Are you
Dodgers.
going to be a homer on this one? Or?
Dodgers by one game have a better record, so they will have the home field advantage.
You got till Friday, so if you want to do some reading.
Well, I would pretty much safely do a Yankees in 6. They haven't been. I don't think so far. So far, they haven't been taken to the limit in either one of the two. Division series. The teams they played. I mean, I would say the only team that arguably is a better team than the Yankees are the Dodgers. And the only team that's a better team than the Dodgers are the Yankees. So this is about as good as you're going to get. I do think the Yankees played somewhat better teams in the playoffs. Certainly the Indians. The Indians had the second best record in the American League, whereas the Mets didn't have the second best record in the National League. And the Padres almost took the Dodgers out. So, I don't know the Dodgers well enough to give you a really great answer other than a fan's answer that I want the Yankees in 6. I do know, I don't know how good the Dodgers are. Their record certainly is one game better than the Yankees. So that means they're about the same. They both have tremendous offense. Soto, of course, is an unbelievable hitter. Giancarlo Stanton, plays like Lou Gehrig in the playoffs. He's unbelievable. And Judge, I mean, every time he gets up, you really want to walk him. You don't even want to look at him. I mean, you look at Judge and you get scared.
Yeah.
And of course, they have great hitters too. I just don't know. I mean, the Yankees have a bullpen that really came through in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's going to be very tight. So let's look at Harris, and let's look at a set of clips to show that really I have to show this, because if I just say it, nobody wants to believe it. But this woman, and I am a Catholic, so maybe I'm more sensitive than I should be, but she sure as hell seems to hate us. I mean, can we go back first to the Knights of Columbus thing when she was a senator, where she attacks the Knights of Columbus? I mean, never heard anybody attacking the Knights of Columbus. You have that?
For the people.
It was a Senate hearing.
Kamala Harris is making her case to become the prosecutor president. As a U.S. Senator from California, she earned a reputation for being a tenacious questioner, especially of judicial nominees.
Can you think of any laws that give government the power to make decisions about the male body?
I I'm happy to answer a more specific question.
There are some questions Harris asked in the Senate Judiciary Committee that Catholic voters may want to know about.
In Article 6 of the Constitution, it very explicitly bans religious tests for public office. And that's precisely what Kamala Harris did.
In May 2018, in written questions for the nomination of Peter Phipps for the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania, then Senator Harris noted Phipps' membership in the Catholic fraternal organization, the Knights of Columbus, asking if he carried out the Knights' mission of defending the right to life of every human being from the moment of conception to natural death. In November of that same year, Harris scrutinized another Knights membership, that time with nominee Paul Mady, as he was being considered for the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit. She asked if Mady was aware the Knights of Columbus opposed a woman's right to choose, and whether he believes that a fetus is entitled to any protection under the U.S. Constitution. And then in December 2018, Harris grilled a third judicial nominee over his Knights involvement, Brian Bisher, who was nominated to the U.S. District Court for the District of Nebraska. Harris stated the Knights have, quote, taken a number of extreme positions and asked, among other questions, whether Bisher believed abortion is the killing of the innocent on a massive scale.
I mean, really inappropriate questions that have nothing to do with a person's ability.
Keep going. Oh.
Well, I mean, this is an indication that she is either, well, I would say it reveals two things. You can come to two conclusions about it. She's a person of extraordinarily weak intellect, which would be suggested by her failing the bar exam. You know, I bring that up every night. I just think it's absurd that she failed the bar exam. And they get angry at Trump when she says she's stupid. I don't know, if you fail the bar exam, you're entitled to be called stupid. Because I know people fail the bar exam who are very smart and then they passed it. But she certainly isn't very. It sort of fits a whole pattern where she makes these ridiculous answers that make no sense. And everybody thinks it's funny and it's cackling. It isn't. It's the evidence of a weak intellect, the inability to think rationally, which is why you fail the bar exam. The one thing a lawyer has to be able to do, and a lot of them are jerky lawyers, so I don't know how they pass the bar exam. You have to be able to think rationally, and you have to write rationally. I can't imagine she can write rationally. She can't think rationally. I mean, do we have to play one of her? What are you going to do the first day in office? My mother was from the middle class, and I have aspirations for the middle class, which we will bring to the White House with us. Now, she actually said that once. So I said to myself, oh, I know what she's going to do the first day she's in the White House. She's going to aspirate. I wasn't sure what that was. I thought maybe it was dirty. Huh. Bad enough Bill. Oh, well, never met. I was going to say something about Bill Clinton and the Oval Office. I shouldn't have. But now, this goes on beyond this Knights of Columbus thing. I thought we were finished with the Knights of Columbus stuff. Then, which one shall we pick next? What's easier for you? We got a whole bunch of these.
Oh my goodness, we can go.
We can move on to our hatred of all Christians and of Jews in a little while, but let's see we finish up the Catholic one.
Yeah, let's do it. So, well, we could play the terrible SNL skit that they.
Oh, you mean her? Well, she skipped the Al Smith dinner. First candidate to do that in generations. The last one that did it won only one vote, one state, probably one vote. Mondale, and she's much bigger left winger than he was.
How about yeah?
But so here she's this was. She actually played this for the Al Smith dinner.
Yes.
Tell me this isn't an insult.
What's going on? Who was that?
Oh, sorry, Mary Catherine Gallagher. Mary Catherine Gallagher. It's so nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you, Mary Catherine. Right now I'm trying to record my speech for tonight's dinner.
Oh, yeah, I know. I just want to say that I'm Catholic, and tonight is one of the biggest dinners next to the Last Supper.
It is a very important dinner, and it's an important tradition.
Stop it
that
right
I'm
now.
so proud to be a
Stop
part
it
of.
right now. That is damn insulting. This is the biggest dinner, except for I mean, that's ridiculous to say that. That's absolutely ridiculous. Now, you can be very religious, not very religious. You can even be, I've seen some people comment on this who haven't practiced the Catholic religion for 30 years that are insulted because it's their heritage, it's their background. This is complete insensitivity. The Last Supper is like the most important thing in the Bible. And she's equating it to the Al Smith dinner, or the Catholics equate the Al Smith dinner to the Last Supper. No, we don't, Kamala. We're smarter than you are. We know this is just a silly political dinner. And the reason it has importance is that Republicans and Democrats do have an opportunity to come together. But you didn't come together. You didn't come. Where the hell did you go? What did she do that night? She went with some rock bum who's probably a drug addict. You want to play the end of it with Mary? I'm very disappointed in her. I acted with her on Saturday Night Live, and I did a spelling bee with her, and she was spelling under her
my
arm.
fingers under my
See,
arms
she
and
still
I
smells
them like that.
Yeah, she still does it. That's a little old, Mary Catherine. You've been doing that.
Something. I'm giving a speech. Do you have
You'd
some
be more
thoughts about what I
famous if
might
you
say
learned
tonight?
something else.
My feelings about what you should say tonight would be best expressed in a monologue from one of my favorite made-for-TV series.
Okay, let's hear it.
Don't you see, man? We need a woman to represent us. A woman brings more heart, more compassion. And think how smart she must be to become a top contender in a field dominated by men. It's time for a woman, bro. And with this woman, we can fly.
What series was that from?
Oh, that's from House of Dragons, now streaming on HBO Max.
Is there anything that you think that maybe I shouldn't bring up tonight?
Well, don't lie. Thou shalt not bear false witness to thy neighbor.
Indeed, especially thy neighbor's election results.
Just so you know, there will be a fact checker there tonight.
Oh, that's great. Who?
Jesus. And maybe don't say anything negative about Catholics.
I would never do that, no matter where I was. That would be like criticizing Detroit in Detroit.
Does it bother you that Trump guy insults you all the time? Because it really bothers my friends and me.
Oh, Mary Catherine, it's very important to always remember you should never let anyone tell you who you are. You tell them who you are.
Haters gonna hate, hate, hate. Shake it off.
Shake it off.
Shake it off.
Shake it off. Good for you, Mary Catherine.
Oh, yeah, okay. And also remember.
And that she presents after she insults them by not coming to their dinner. She insults their religion. Now let's watch her throw a person who believes in Jesus Christ out of her meeting to say she would never insult Catholics. No, she'll insult all Christians.
Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
And they're all anti-Catholic, all anti-Christian.
No,
throw out the people who believe in Jesus.
One down the street.
Yeah, we'll take them. And swallow my backside. Look at that stupid laugh. That's what happens. That's how people who fail the bar exam laugh. I'm telling you, that's the way people who failed the bar exam laugh. Now, what had those people said, Ted? They've been on television, right?
They've been, yes, Mayor. Yeah, they've been on television.
And I think,
trying to find the clip. Let's see if we can find it.
they were saying they were defending life, and they were saying something about Jesus. And she basically said, "Get the hell out of my go down the street to Trump." So Trump is the candidate of those who believe in God, and she's the candidate of those who don't. So just in case you think she's doing well with Jews, right now she has the lowest percentage of the Jewish vote of anyone since Jimmy Carter against Ronald Reagan in '80, in which was Reagan's first landslide, the one they didn't expect. That was the 8 to 10 point win against an incumbent. So she's down to 62%. I think. I'm sorry, 67% of the Jewish vote so far. Now I don't know if that's nationally or in New York. The Manhattan Institute took this poll. So if you want to compare that, 1992, 80% of the Jewish vote went to Bill Clinton. She's down to 67. And Obama never did worse than 70% plus. Hillary got 71%. So it's been slipping. I'd say Trump, you want my prediction? As someone who got a larger percentage of the Jewish vote than she's getting right now, actually, Trump will be at better than 35%. And it'll be even better in the places he really needs it. One of the places he's doing the best with the Jewish vote, believe it or not, is Pennsylvania. There, he's like only about 4 points behind. Whereas in New York, he's about 12, 14 points behind. So I think as you go more out of the very liberal bastions, right, you're going to find that the Jewish vote more strongly moves toward Trump, because the people holding back, the Jewish vote that holds back is the Jewish vote you're never going to get because they're anti-Israel, and there is. Now, according to their poll, only 5% are anti-Israel. That's wrong. There's a stronger percentage of Jewish people that are anti-Israel. Like every religion, there are a bunch of Jews that aren't Jews anymore. I mean, they'll tell you they're Jewish, but they forgot their religion a long time ago. And then there are some that are so liberal and left-wing that they're anti-Israel. I think that's more like about 15 or 20%. So the ones that are available are about 75 or 80% of the vote. And the ones that are more socially liberal might have a competing decision between Israel and her dedication to make us into a socialist communist country. But I think that's narrowing. And as I said, as you get out of California and New York, the Jewish voter becomes more like every other voter, like they are in New York. They're more liberal in New York and California. They're more conservative if you look at the Jewish voter in the Midwest, in Michigan. So those are the states that he has to turn, and a 10% difference in the Jewish vote in Pennsylvania and Michigan could make a big difference. And she's doing everything she can to lose the Jewish vote, including the fact that she basically told Israel to stop months ago, in which case Sinwar and Hamas would still be flourishing, Hezbollah would still be flourishing. And every time she talks about it, even after the Israelis are attacked, they have to be very careful in their response. I don't know, did anybody tell Roosevelt that after the Japanese attacked us? Anybody say, well, you better be very careful in the way you respond to Japan? I mean, we're going to watch now how you respond to Japan. Basically, he would have said, go stuff it up here, right? You attack my country, I'm not going to, you be careful. That's why he's a leader. And that's why we don't have any leadership and no one respects us. When Donald Trump says that Putin would not have invaded Ukraine if he were president, it is absolutely provable. You don't have to debate it. Putin invaded 3 times during his administration. we now have 4 different presidents in a row. He invaded 3 times under 3 of them. Which one didn't he invade under? At all? Didn't even threaten it? Didn't even think about it? Donald Trump. He invaded under Bush, Georgia. He invaded under Obama, which now Biden blames on Obama, which is hilarious. He did the same thing. And then he invaded under Biden. He seems to have missed Trump. And Trump is the one that allegedly is easy on him. Maybe you should be easy on him and you destroy him. Maybe you kill him with positive. I'm only kidding now. But the reality is there are a lot of ways to conduct diplomacy. You can conduct diplomacy, speaking softly and carrying a big stick. You can carry a big stick. It better be big. But the only way not to conduct it against a dictatorship, which is what we're facing, whatever you want to call it, communist or religious fanaticism, that's what we're facing with the reign of terror. That's what we're facing in North Korea. That's what we're facing with China. And that's what we're facing with Russia. And Venezuela, if it doesn't count for anything, because it's pathetic under Maduro. The only way to deal with a bully is to stand up to him. I mean, you couldn't have lived through the 20th century as an intelligent person and not come to the conclusion that the way you're going to create war is appeasing a bully. It created the greatest war in history. And it created maybe one of the greatest figures in history to straighten it out, Winston Churchill. And Kamala cackling is no Winston Churchill. Just like she's not. What are you going to do different than Joe Biden? I'm not Joe Biden. That was her whole answer. Not I'm going to end the war in Ukraine or end the war or I'm going to calm down some of the spending so we don't become completely broke and inflation ruins you. None of that. I'm not Joe Biden. Hey, great observation. Wow. You are sharp. I'm not Joe Biden. It took 3 weeks to come up with that. Until then, it was, I can't think, which may have been the operative part of the sentence. I can't think of what I would do different. Then she had 3 weeks to think, and the thing that she would do different is not be Joe Biden. Are we back like in the 4th grade or something, or 3rd grade, or the president of the 2nd grade class? How are you different than the last president of the 2nd grade class, Kamala? Well, I'm not the same person. Oh, well, that's a whole new program. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans. No Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
And we're back.
This is Rudy Giuliani, and we're back with America's Mayor Live. You know, in addition to unbelievably dangerous anti-Semitism across the country over the last year and a half, It seems to me, and I think you'll agree with this, that these people like Biden and Harris and Obama, they want to bring racism back because that's the only way they can win. And they practice racism and then just change the name. It's like right out of Orwell, right? They changed the meaning of words. So she was on a black radio show. And, you know, she's making this claim that crime is down during the Biden administration, like over the last year. Well, that turned out to be phony, incorrect FBI statistics, which they put out a correction to in the middle of the night. And actually, crime was up. So that's number one. So that's the same thing they did with jobs, right? They put out a report that jobs was up, not the most recent one. They haven't corrected that yet. They'll wait until after the election. It was the last one. Before that, it was off by 800,000 jobs. You know why the report that she relied on and the crooked reporters used for fact checking had crime down? Because Chicago and a number of other big cities didn't report. And by the way, the reporting criteria has changed to report less crime. So in any event, crime is up by a small amount, according to the FBI. It's up by a much larger amount based on the victimization surveys of the Justice Department, which are considered by all experts, including this one, as much more accurate. And that's been true for 30 years, that they're much more accurate. I used to be in charge of both statistics, so I can tell you that. Crime is up under those statistics. But the Biden administration and her is more than 1 year. You know how much crime is up for the 3.5 years between 2019 and 2023? How about 40%? Violent crime is up across the country. So when you say, was I better off about crime and safety when Trump was president, was I better off 4 years ago than I am now? The answer is you were 40% better off in terms of violent crime 4 years ago. So stop the lying, Kamala, and stop lying for radio stations. But then she's on The Breakfast Club and she inserts racism right into the middle of this election. And of course, the stinking media doesn't say anything about it. They're the people who are keeping racism alive. Goes back to Obama. I think racism was just about gone. I mean, the only racist left was Biden going and giving eulogies for Ku Klux Klan members. So this is a quote from her on The Breakfast Club. Racism seeps into every part of American life. Well, I don't know what America you're talking about, but there's no racism in my part of American life. I was born in Brooklyn. I played with and was friendly with and not so friendly with blacks and everybody else since I was a kid. And I don't believe that anybody is better than anybody else. Like every other human being, I think Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is sometimes overly idolized. And, you know, you may have to worry about his statue someday. But in any event, he was sure right about the fact that people should be judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. That alone makes him a historic figure. That the one quote. It's a great guideline for what a fair society should be. I'm going to tell you whether they believe it or not. I've lived by that all my life. They don't. They talk about white privilege. I don't think I had white privilege. I really don't. I don't remember having any extra points on an exam. Sorry. I do not think that racism in this country is, as you like to say, systemic. You know what systemic means? Systemic means virtually everywhere in the system, as opposed to quixotic or episodic. In other words, some here, some there, some here, some there, but not universal. Racism is not universal, except for people like you, Tackling and Biden. So a caller to the show asked Miss Harris what she would do to make sure that there's a stop to police brutalities and murders that have been going on viciously Now, this is a Wall Street Journal article by probably the best writer on criminal justice ever. Maybe that was James Q. Wilson. Certainly alive today, and that's Heather McDonald. Heather McDonald writes, the question about police brutality going on viciously was based on the false premise that police officers routinely murder blacks. On average, a little over a dozen unarmed black men are killed each year by police officers, according to the Washington Post police shootings database. The Post unarmed category can include someone trying to grab the police officer's gun. So not every one of them is necessarily an unjustified police shooting. It just raises a question about being unjustified because the person is unarmed, as Ashley Babbitt was. Right? Oh, but that doesn't count because she deserved to be killed because she supported Trump. And anyway, they needed a murder. And sure as hell looks to me like there's a good chance it was planned. But, wow, that's only me being concerned about a human life. They're not. Yeah. The Post unarmed category can include someone trying to grab an officer's gun. The 15 or so unarmed blacks, black victims of police shootings, are a fraction of the 8,000 to 10,000 blacks murdered annually by other blacks. So there are 15 police shootings, and there are 8,000 to 10,000 shootings of black on black. What's the problem? What's going to more likely happen to your kid when he walks out of the house? He could be one of the 0.15% that's shot by the police, or the 90% or 95% that are shot by other blacks. Because whites generally don't shoot blacks at all. In New York, it's about 8%. And Hispanics don't shoot blacks, much less than their percentage of the population. But blacks shoot blacks. In New York, it's almost always 7 or 8 out of 10 of the black murders are black on black. And if there's a police shooting, there are 2, 3. So tell me that the real danger, now if you're concerned about the life of a black child, what would be the more important thing to do? To teach him how to be careful about other blacks killing him, which is a 95% to 98% chance of happening, or teach him to be careful of police shooting him when it's less than 1%. Wouldn't be a bad idea, by the way, to teach him to be respectful of police and not create this nonsense that the police go out to go after blacks every day. The reason for the larger number of incidents with blacks in the police is because they commit a much larger number of the crimes. That's not racist. That's reality. Racism is I lie to you about it, like they do. And it continues it, and it keeps the blacks who subscribe to it or are brainwashed by it down. And if they're down, they're going to reflexively vote 80%, 90% for the party that has destroyed them for 50 years. I don't know. Why don't you consult Malcolm X, who's one of your heroes, who said the biggest enemy of the black is the American liberal. That was true in his day. It's much worse today. On the other hand, the American conservative has no. We have any racists, we throw them out. Gone, out. We don't want you. We don't do what you guys do with the squad, which is kiss their backsides. When all the Swifties are out there for Kamala, but you know, her website sent out only 400,000.
400,000 what?
400,000 invitations to register.
Really?
Yeah. Only 400,000. I mean, she's got like 50 million followers or something.
Mayor, you're not aware of her concert last night in South Florida? She just had a concert down the road.
Who?
Taylor Swift
Was
in Hard Rock Stadium.
I don't even know a song that she sang.
She sold 3 straight shows.
Oh wow! Well, so what's wrong?
South Florida. People were. I had some of our friends down here
because she can sing.
These tickets.
Because she can sing and she puts her legs out. You're gonna vote? I mean, so therefore she knows what's best for the future of our country. What has she ever displayed that showed deep
That's
insight?
Hollywood, right? I mean, yeah, she's good at singing. She's famous, Mayor. Didn't you know that?
What has she ever shown that shows that you should defer to her judgment about politics? I mean, most of you probably know more about it than she does. She probably has the time to pay attention to it.
Well, her whole shtick is that she's not good at choosing.
And I think her
significant others.
I think her music is repetitive, mundane, probably part of what leads to attention deficit disorder. But that's my criticism of popular music. So now you'll see that I'm really a classical music stiff.
Well, the mayor has a very particular.
No, it's very, very bad that we don't. When I say attention deficit disorder, she sings 3 to 5 minute songs. A Beethoven symphony is 35, 40 minutes. One requires concentration. One teaches you how to concentrate. This is serious. I mean, there's all kinds of studies on people who become seriously engaged with music are much more intelligent, much more intelligent.
Well, that would make you...
Because it requires discipline to listen to classical music. It requires relaxing. It requires, it makes you, because it goes on for a lengthy period, it makes you think. It makes you ponder. If you know the music and you can see the changes and the variations. I'll give you a short one, the 1812 Overture, which is a good beginning for everyone, in which they play out the Battle of 1812, the Battle of Moscow, by pitting the Marseillaise, the French national anthem, against 3 Russian folk tunes. And eventually the Russian folk tunes win out, and it ends with the ringing of bells, and then when they do it on a great occasion, they'll have cannons going off, and it was one of Tchaikovsky's great pieces of music written for the Russian defeat of Napoleon. And it's that is only about I'm gonna say about 20 minutes, but it's a lot better than the 4 or 5 minutes of a popular song where it's really about 2 lyrics repeated 8 times.
Like just the ending for people. Now
you're listening to a Russian hymn.
Overture.
That's the Russian hymn winning out. This is the end of it. Listen to that.
This is the end. This is the Boston Pops version. I believe it's played every 4th of July, right?
Da, 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 da. Watch now. They're shooting off bombs. Yeah. I don't know why we didn't play this. I don't know why I pulled out of my hat the 1812 Overture and he was able to get it. That was really good, Ted.
I'll take it.
1812 Overture that fast. Although I don't want to be picky, but the one that I really like is Leonard Bernstein, because Leonard Bernstein was an unbelievable actor on the podium. Now you saw that young man conducting, right? He didn't jump up and down. There he is. Just show that picture. Just show the one picture of him right there. That's Leonard Bernstein. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But he made it unbelievably exciting. And he taught me a lot of classical music because he would be on television in the early days and he would do introduction to classical music. And he would teach you about like, I remember Beethoven's Third Symphony, the Eroica, which was originally going to be written for Napoleon until Beethoven turned against Napoleon when Napoleon became a dictator.
Yeah.
But he would say, Bernstein, that was the beginning of modern classical music with the first three notes of the Eroica. And I remember the lecture, I must have been 7 years old when I heard it. And I remember it as if it were yesterday. And then he goes on to explain in the four movements of it. And the Eroica, again, is about 35, 36, 37 minutes. And there's a lot of things you can do with it. You can listen for the contrast in the music. You can listen to the contrast in the instruments. You can contemplate the themes. Beethoven didn't like it to have a predetermined theme for his music, like the 1812 overture. But in fact, he did it because it's very hard not to. So probably most famous work of Beethoven is the Fifth Symphony. Da 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 da. You know, the Fifth Symphony, which is a kind of a mature version of the third. It's the Eroica improved. It's like when iPhone 12, iPhone 16.
So Mayor, you've never really been a fan of the
way back. I was a rock and roll fan.
Oh, you were
way back.
So back in the 60s,
when I became a classical music fan at 13 years old. Up until then, I was an avid rock and roll fan. Elvis Presley, Bill Haley and the Comets, the Platters.
The original pop music, right?
Oh, yeah.
The original top 40.
And I still love it. I like the
old ones, not the, you don't like today's top.
Okay, I don't understand what they're saying.
You better have that radio off, guys. If you're ever driving the Mayor, if you're driving the Mayor and you don't even think about putting on a top 40 on the radio station. Yeah, we should turn I try, and I try to find like maybe the Mayor will like this station. And then I haven't found one yet.
From what I can tell of Taylor Swift, she's always getting left by a boyfriend. And she's a nice looking girl. I don't understand why all these boyfriends leave her.
Yeah, that's kind of been part of her whole shtick.
But
she sings about her exes, and I think she's been doing that. But I think she's my age, actually. I think she's 33.
How many exes has she had?
A handful. Now, how many of them are? Yeah, she's gone out with a number of these people.
Did she write about all?
A lot of them.
So why would you go out with her? She's going to write about you.
I know. You got it. Better do it right.
You think this Kelsey thing is for real?
So far, so good. So far, so I mean, as far as from what we know, she goes to the games. Chiefs are playing well. So we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, but I mean, she could be just setting him up for another big song.
For another song, and this would be the biggest song ever.
Imagine if she did a song about him.
She's gonna do it after the Super Bowl. I bet you they stick together. They'll go to the Super Bowl.
So she'll let him win one more Super Bowl, and then
if they lose, you know that song's coming out. She's
they
dating a loser.
Did they all break off with her, or did she break off with them?
Good question. We'd have to go back and look. But she's had a few songs. I think her big thing is like "Shake It Off" is the name of one of her songs, and I think it's about shaking off a bad boyfriend, a bad relationship.
That's good. I'm glad she does a very thoughtful piece. This puts her in a really great position to have superior knowledge about a presidential candidate.
But when did you say you were 13?
So in other words, if she will pick the president that creates less breakoffs, is that it?
Then that would be President Trump.
Have Trump or Kamala? Well, Kamala's only been married once, no children, but she's been married once. I know you can't do the cat lady thing and that sort of stuff on her. But her husband doesn't exactly sound like a great pick. Looks like she might have made a mistake there. He knocked up his nanny before he met her.
Right?
beat up his other girlfriend. Maybe he's afraid of her.
But that's a good question. I bet you less breakups happened under President Trump. Well, I'm guessing that, there's a strong correlation between the economy and relationships. And the economy was humming. It was humming like a rocket ship under President Trump until the pandemic, of course.
Well, according to a good article in the Wall Street Journal today, Trump and Harris have competing strategies, different strategies. Her objective, according to this, I would say balanced article, which you don't get much anymore.
What outlet?
The Wall Street Journal, Tarina Party and Alex Leary.
Because we're going to get
according to this, her objective is rooted in the analysis that they found a chunk of remaining undecided voters who are soft GOP-leaning voters and moderate independents, like people who backed Nikki Haley, and they're going to try to flip them. And they think that might be the difference in the election.
Well, that explains
now, and that is
raining.
But that's because the polls have shown a lack of enthusiasm for Harris among Black and Latino men, and it doesn't seem to be changing. It seems to be remaining the same or trending a little further in that direction. So her strategy now, according to her head of her PAC, is to build a bigger tent and bring in these Republicans. That's why you see Cheney with her. She's trying to get
Adam Kinzer.
She's trying to get, let's call it, the Nikki Haley Republicans. And that's why President Trump is being urged to have Nikki Haley campaign with him, which he doesn't seem to be taken to too well.
Well, I don't see the...
Don't. We may have to resort to that.
No. I'm not about to... I'm asking this question.
I'm looking at... I'm looking at my friends.
No, I'm asking... I'm not criticizing.
He never ran for office. He doesn't know. You make some compromises. It just can't be,
You didn't even let me feel like I thought.
I'm 100% against fracking, then I'm 100% for it. Or like Romney did. Romney was in favor of gun control, and then he became a lifetime member of the NRA. Just become a member. Don't become a lifetime member. And don't go around trying to convince people you actually should. Well, I like to shoot critters.
Love going out shooting those critters.
What the hell are critters anyway?
I haven't heard one hunter. I'm from Northern Michigan. Not one hunter refers to them as critters.
Come on. Yeah. Now, Tampon Tim has got to be the biggest bull artist there ever was. This guy never shot a gun, even in the National Guard. He doesn't know how to load a gun.
Yeah.
He looks like the Secret Service agents they put around Trump. Right? They're going to assign him to Trump.
Here is attempting to load what appears to be a
No, don't put you put Bernstein up there. Let's show him.
Yeah,
there he is.
Imagine
the
pellet. That's like
a
pellet gun.
Imagine this guy was on the battlefield with you, and you're getting shot at, and this guy's doing this.
I'll be right with you.
Would you please shoot? Tampon, shoot.
Give me 30 seconds.
They're shooting at me, Tampon, shoot.
I got you in 48 seconds.
Tampon, you're supposed to have my arm.
Tell him time out on the field. Give me time to read.
A lot of people say that the unit was very upset with him for, punking out and being, administrator called them cowardly. They look at this, they were lucky that he didn't go. You imagine? They're getting shot at and he's going like here. It's like the agent trying to put a gun back in. Why do they lie? Why do Democrats? Are they born liars, or do they teach? No, I think it's a qualification for being like a high-level Democrat. If you're a low-level Democrat, you don't have to lie. But if you're a high-level Democrat, since Clinton, you have to lie.
Yep.
Because Clinton lied so much, right?
Lie.
I mean, I like Clinton, but he's one hell of a liar. Ooh. Although, I mean, to be a bigger liar than Biden. So now Trump's campaign, I mean, it's kind of like they're looking for the same kind of person, but in a different type. I mean, but they think there are a lot of people that don't vote. which there are. And they certainly have already gone public with the fact that something like more than 50% of the evangelicals don't vote, and 90% of them support Trump. And they don't vote for all kinds of reasons. One of it is sort of exacerbated by a concentration on the 2020 election, which is they think that there's cheating and it's not going to count. Of course, if there is cheating, the best way to overcome it is to vote in great excess, which he's trying to encourage. But so there's been real criticism of that strategy.
Wait.
Of the strategy, although Harris's strategy is similar, but there's real criticism of Trump's strategy of trying to get out the voter, what they call the low propensity voter, because the general wisdom has been at the very end, concentrate on the people that are definitely going to vote and get them out. But we were with them this weekend, and they're doing both. And I think they are counting a little bit, and this may be a gamble. They're counting on the enthusiasm that he creates among the people who do vote. So remember, he won Election Day last year by almost a landslide, and certainly in the states that he was ahead in, and then they were all turned around after they counted until Biden won. So. We'll know who had the smartest strategy after the election, not before.
I guess that's the beauty about elections, right, Mayor?
Yeah.
So
he's looking for the low propensity voter. Remember, they told us that when we went out with them in Georgia. They're looking for the people who are likely to vote for Trump or will vote for Trump if you can just get them up off there and vote. They're also trying to narrow the margin going into Election Day, so that more of us who tend to like Republicans, like to vote on Election Day, more of us vote early. So I'm going to vote this week. I'll let you know when. You can come with me.
Doesn't that kind of make sense, Mayor, that for President Trump, this is a turnout election? People know him. They know if they like him or not. So it's a question of just getting his people to the polls, where Harris, who's more undefined, if anything, and they still have to persuade people to either they have to try to define her to persuade them, or they got to get them to vote for her by defining her or by just showing that she's presidential.
That's a good point. They have a two-part process in many cases because she's not that well known. They first have to get them to be a Harris voter, and then they have to get the voter out.
Yeah,
you can go look for people that are Trump voters.
Yeah.
Who don't come out, and you can get them to come out.
Yes,
because there are plenty of people that are enthusiastic, plenty of people that obviously that hate him, but there are plenty of people that are very enthusiastic about him, which who are demeaned by the Democrats as deplorables and whatever else we are, or put in jail for the rest of their life, like me.
But that's where the Christian vote, and there's still a good portion of Christians that don't vote in elections.
Well, I think
that could mobilize them.
I think she's going to help us with that.
That could have been the biggest mistake of her.
She's helping us with that because she is instinctually she's not anti-Christian. She's anti-God. Because her dad, she's a communist.
And is she not able? Is the reason she hasn't addressed that is because it would make it worse? Are they telling her don't even address it?
If you really aren't religious and you try to pretend you are, it comes across very quickly. You won't know the right words to say because you were never trained religiously. If you're Jewish or whatever, you're Muslim or Catholic or Hindu or whatever, you'll know the right words to say. But if you've never been religious, you don't know the right words to say. If you want me to explain why I believe in or don't believe in certain things about religion, I could do it very authentically. Because I was legitimately religious, and in my own way, I am now.
Well, she visited a church this. It was a campaign.
I wasn't kidding this.
But how does this
church go to church like that?
How can this church do this after what we heard from her and not at least demand an explanation from her? This, to me, this church, how does this church open up for this woman who chased out someone proclaiming Jesus is Lord, yet this church has her with open arms? What does that say? I'm sorry. If I'm
Looks
a
to
parishioner,
me like a campaign rally, not a church. I'm going to see an altar.
That's a good point too. But a serious question to this church: How do they square this up?
In any event, we interrupt church services like that for everybody kisses and we get a 45-minute. Gee, I don't recall church services getting interrupted for 40 minutes when the person comes in and hugs everybody. And that is, of course, required.
Oh my goodness.
So this coming weekend, of course, is going to be the rally at Madison Square Garden.
Someone I know is speaking.
Which is, I will be speaking. But I think they're really coming for Trump. But you can come for me if you want. It's all right.
Maybe sold out, but if
I am very familiar.
Then stand outside too.
I am very familiar with Madison Square Garden. I grew up there.
Well, we want to have a big crowd outside too, so the president can, tell everybody that there's 3 times as many people outside as inside. They couldn't get in. So let's pack Midtown. So
the last thing I will point out is that Harris this week is going around saying that Trump is exhausted and tired. He's exhausted and tired.
What does that make?
He does about 5 times more things than she does in a day.
He was working the McDonald's.
He does 5 times more things. I mean, she does 1 event, maybe at best 2 events a day. He does 5. And wait till the last week. Wait until he really gets started.
And he went to the football game last night.
Let me also point out that there are now, just so that we don't stay unaware of the fact that we have a criminal alien problem given to us by the border czar Harris in the United States. New York put out a statistic this year that shelter arrests of illegal migrants is up 64%. That follows statistics that show that 60% of the crime in the Bronx and 60% of the crime in Queens is committed by the Biden-Harris invitees, by the new people that were brought in who wouldn't be here but for the fact that Biden and Harris opened the border and didn't do any vetting to keep the criminals out. This also goes to prove what Trump says, that they let an awful lot of criminals in. Crime wouldn't be up 64% if they let in all really nice people like Harris and Biden like you to think. And they want to make these 64%, they want to make them citizens. They want to make them all citizens so they can vote. Well, they don't care. I mean, another reason you shouldn't vote Democrat is the criminals vote Democrat. Because the Democrats let them out. 29 cop killers have been left out since Andrew Cuomo changed the law in 2019. 29 cop killers, people who murdered police officers. And the idea was life imprisonment will substitute for capital punishment because it's a much worse punishment. Like hell it is. If it was a much worse punishment, why do people fight for 20 years against an execution and spend $10 million? It's a much better deterrent to police killings and to very, very serious killings. So we're getting down to the end, so let's keep together here. I urge you, as I did the people in Georgia this weekend, to write down on a piece of paper, bare minimum, 10 friends, get them out to vote. You all have 10 friends. I hope you all have 10 friends. Hopefully, maybe you got 20. I'd love if you'd send us a message here and let us know that you did it. How many you called? Make sure they get out to vote. I don't know. I think early voting has started in Florida. I'll check tomorrow, but I'll vote this week, and we'll take pictures and we'll encourage it. Because, look, I believe in voting one day on paper. That's it. And then we can count and then you got to allow both sides to see the paper, not a whole 700,000 ballots from us like they did in Pennsylvania that I never got to see. You want to know why I think it was crooked? Because they wouldn't show me the ballots. If it were honest, they'd show me the ballots. So you get 10 people out to vote. If you can do more, you can do 20, 30, 40. If you can volunteer at the headquarters, that's even better. Bare minimum at home, you can do this. Call up your best friends. Probably your best friends are all like you are politically. Nowadays, we have trouble with that, don't we? So,
can I add one thing? to call your friends in the swing states. Anyone you know in those 7 states. That's a
wouldn't that be a good idea? Think about who do you know in Georgia, who do you know in North Carolina, who do you know in Pennsylvania? The 2 big ones are Pennsylvania and Michigan. So let's go with those 2.
Michigan.
Who do you know you know a lot of people in Michigan. Michigan and Pennsylvania. Who do you well, I think I'll call them, but you know.
Yeah. Gee, who are they gonna listen
That's
to
the reason
more
I'm
on
the air.
That's for Ted Goodman. Who's gonna convince them more to vote?
Don't threaten. We're not them. Don't tell them to vote early and often. That's them. And don't tell them to, get a machine to mark up ballots so that if Harris falls behind, you'll have a lot of phony ballots to pump in. They would do that.
Mayor, are we allowed to tell if it's a Democrat? Are we allowed to tell them election day is Wednesday? Or
let's talk privately.
Yeah.
Well, let's pray with my good friends here, Ali Reza. I really feel that we should definitely pray for the people of Iran, right? Shouldn't we? We should pray for the people of Iran because they don't deserve this. They don't deserve this, and nor do the people of Ukraine. They don't deserve it. The people of Russia don't deserve it. It's ridiculous. I mean, these are the people at the top in all these places who are corrupt, dictatorial, homicidal. Huh. Well, pray for them all that we have peace. Pray for Americans so as they come about to make this very, very difficult decision, which isn't so difficult really, but for some people it is, they make the right one. And we'll see you tomorrow at 7 on Frank Speech and X. And then we'll see you here at 8 on X. God bless America. Okay. bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze.